I just kept making them and kept making them. And I remember one of my clients at the shoe store was going through chemotherapy and her hair was falling out. And she was complaining about, I said, you can get a wig, right? She was like, what? I was like, yeah, I have on a wig. At this point, I had made like 10 of them. So I was a little better. She was like, can I buy that one off of your head? I was like, it's all used. She was like, no, you don't understand. That's how desperate I am to get one. And I remember she offered me $1,000 for the one I had worn off of my head. And I sold it to her. And then right in that moment, I got it was like an injection of, you just made money and you just made her feel good. I was like, this is like the best of both worlds. So I told my husband that, I'm going to stop making wigs. He looked at me like, what? Like, how did, you? So that was it. I started making them part-time. And within 3 months, I was able to make my monthly salary in a week. And I was like, okay, that's it.
Hello, Profit First entrepreneurs and thought leaders. I am so excited because today I get the opportunity to interview two of my favorite clients, Ed and Jane Harris. And Jane and Ed Harris, they are part of our Profit First family, part of our journey. And I'm really excited about interviewing them because we're going to be featuring them in our book, Profit First for Minority Business Enterprises. Now, a little background about Ed and Jane. Ed and Jane are a dynamic duo. They are a husband and wife couple. Isn't that amazing? Husband and wife couple. And they are the duo behind the brand, the Virgin Hair Family. Now, Jane, the wig maker, and Chef Ed, they work together and they create these high quality hair care products, tools, and wigs. And they're known by the brand Pericus. And they cater a diverse clientele. Now, the duo continues to expand the TVHF brand to include more luxury beauty items, from lashes to new spa to press-on nails, so their clients can look and feel beautiful and really present themselves the best from head to toe. Now, this husband and wife duo aims to create community by offering also how-to classes, right? Because they're giving back to their community, which includes how to start an e-commerce business. And they are growing leaps and bounds every day through their exceptional customer service that is really the hallmark of their business. Now, I have had the opportunity to work with Jane and Ed for a year, and I have seen them grow a 7-figure business and really become the Gen 1 millionaires of their family. So please welcome Jane and Ed to our platform where they're going to share about their Profit First journey. Hi, Jane and Ed. How are you guys doing?
So excited to be here. How are you?
Great. I'm excited to have you guys too and have your story be shared because it is such an amazing story, and what you guys have done with your business and your product and how you've helped so many women really look and feel and present their best is just phenomenal, right? Phenomenal. I'm curious. Tell us, how did you start this business? What compelled you to get into this business?
Well, it started with me feeling really, because I was working in a shoe store. I had worked there for 13 years, and I became store manager, and I got transferred to, Madison Avenue in New York. And coming from Atlanta, Georgia to New York, I quickly realized the importance of fashion and looking good, especially being on 53rd and Madison Avenue, right there in the middle of everything fashion. So I felt good everywhere else, but my hair I felt my hair wasn't up to par. I wasn't able to do certain styles, and so it got to a point where I wanted to own a wig, but I really couldn't afford the one I wanted. I think it was $2,000 at the time from the one I researched. And then I decided to make one. Of course, with no hair experience and not going to hair school, I went on YouTube. And the first one I made was hideous. It was terrible. But at the time, even as bad as it looked, it felt better than my actual hair. So I was like, you know what? It's not too bad. Let me just keep going. And fast forward, I just kept making them and kept making them. And I remember one of my clients at the shoe store was going through chemotherapy and her hair was falling out. And she was complaining about, I said, you can get a wig, right? She was like, what? I was like, yeah, I have on a wig. At this point, I had made like 10 of them. So I was a little better. She was like, can I buy that one off of your head? I was like, it's all used. She was like, no, you don't understand. That's how desperate I am to get one. And I remember she offered me $1,000 for the one I had worn off of my head, and I sold it to her. And then right in that moment, I got it was like an injection of, you just made money and you just made her feel good. I was like, this is like the best of both worlds. So I told my husband that, I'm going to stop making wigs. He looked at me like, what? Like, how did, you? So that was it. I started making them part-time. And within 3 months, I was able to make my monthly salary in a week. And I was like, okay, that's it. And that was it. That's how we got started.
I love that, Jen. You're gonna make me cry. I mean, someone that was losing her hair to an illness that she couldn't control, and you made this woman feel beautiful because of a talent that you didn't even know you had. You didn't even know that you were gifted in this, right? You changed this woman's life and gave her that self-esteem to walk with her head up high and gave her the hair off your own head.
Right.
Makes me just cry. That is beautiful. So tell me, what made you start off and start that profit first journey? What prompted you to do this?
So we were always on a mission of trying to figure out how to be better with our money, and nothing really worked. And coming from families that really didn't get it as well, it wasn't something that was passed down. Money management,
Exactly.
So we took it upon ourselves to really try and figure out what was the best way to go about it. So I kept reading books, kept searching online, and then, of course, Profit First kind of just popped up. And I'm like, what is this? And I kept digging, I kept reading. I saw Mike, and his book was just amazing.
It just made sense.
It made a lot of sense. And then the whole point of back in the day when people would have envelopes or little packages that they would put money away. I'm like, I remember seeing, these kind of things, but it wasn't a thing. It was just, this is what we do. Put money away until you have enough to buy or, afford whatever it is you wanted. And it just made sense to me internally. So I kept reading, and I was like, Jane, we have to go with this. We have to get it. We got the book. We got two of them because we both would listen to it on our phones individually.
Yeah.
That's how we kind of read, so we can race each other. See who finishes the book first. So we both were reading the books, and it just made so much sense. We got another book that he did. And once we read the book, it wasn't enough because we wanted to implement the steps and the processes that he went through. And we were like, we need help. So the search ended up becoming
an obsession.
Until we found you, and that just sealed the deal.
I think we were so afraid because our parents at some point had money. Yeah. We knew they had money, and then all of a sudden they didn't have money. We're like, so what happened from you having money and no money? And as we started growing in our business, we started seeing our numbers go up, but our income of our disposable income, I'm like, why are we making this kind of money and still struggling?
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, we're doing something wrong. And for some reason, I just got a flashback. I'm like, I don't want to end up like my parents. I don't want to end up. So that fear just woke this beast of just like, we got to get it right. For our kids, we got to get it right. So yeah.
And you have changed your family legacy. I mean, your kids will be able to go to college, probably debt free, right? And do the things that they want to do, and and have gifts of homes, when they first get out, and those are things that most people don't ever have that starting point. And you've created that, right? You've created that through your self-discipline, through Profit First. You've created that for yourself. So congratulations on doing that. That is amazing. And when you implement the Profit First journey, what overall were some of the benefits that you started to see? What were the things that were starting to happen and transform and really move your needle forward? What was happening there in Profit First for you?
Once we implemented the process and we had the different accounts to put money away, we started actually seeing money that we didn't have to touch.
Yeah.
Before, there was never money anywhere. I mean, the money would come in.
It would just go.
And it would be gone. It will be gone before we even knew it. And now there's literally money in accounts that we don't ever touch. And before, that was not even a possibility.
At all.
We have travel vacation money put away that we've never had before
ever,
and we're like, now we're just like itching to go on vacation because like we don't even have to worry about stressing. The money's there, it's put away, it's saved. So with using Profit First, it really put in place systems that allowed us to be more comfortable in knowing that every week, every 2 weeks, there's money going into these accounts, and there's certain accounts you touch, there's certain accounts you don't touch, period. And that's just how it is. And, having that discipline and be able to keep it, I think is the most important thing, because you can get Profit First, you can go through all the steps, but you still, as a person, have to be able to say, okay, this account I don't touch regardless. You know, this is the account I use for operating expense, for taxes, payroll, you know, whatever the case may be. And just knowing that you're not dipping, you know, and touching.
And can I say something?
Yeah.
As a creative who needs to create to make money, I didn't, okay, the one thing that it did for me after speaking with you that first day, literally the first day, I slept like a baby. I didn't even know what that, you know, people say, oh, you sleep like a baby. I never experienced that because I was always stressed out. There was this behind my head of, you know, you're gonna lose all, you like you're losing it. Like it just was always there, and I didn't even realize how much weight it was on my chest and my heart. And that night, after we spoke with you, for the like, I can't explain it. I slept worry free, and I have slept worry free since that day. Like I haven't looked back. Like it's, but as a creative, I need to feel that so I can create, so I can make more money. That's just, you know, what it did for me that before we even transferred anything.
Before you just set up
emotionally, I felt like for the first time there's someone who cares and who's holding my hand through this thing that's been so vague and no one taught me.
Yeah.
It's almost like a trap, like, oh, you're gonna fall in there, but I didn't even know there was a hole there. You know, so yeah, for me that's what it was.
That is amazing. So it was systems. It was implementing systems, a cash management system, and working with your innate human tendencies, right? We talk about Parkinson's law, where as people, you know, when a resource is aplenty, we use it. But when a resource is rare, we don't use as much, right? Because we might run out. It's just kind of like, you know, I always say the buffet, right? If you go to the buffet and you've got endless plates and options, you're going to eat a whole lot more than if you go to a nice hors d'oeuvre dinner that gives you literally a 5-inch plate, right? You're going to eat very different. You're going to make very different decisions. And so what Profit First did is it created small plates for you, right? It gave you small plates. This is my profit. This is my operating expenses. This is my owner's pay, my tax account. And what's in my operating expense account? That's all that I have, right? This is all that I have that I can spend on inventory. And now you have to make very strategic decisions on how am I going to use that money? What is going to give me the best return on investment?
Yes.
And I love that. And I love being able to sleep at night too. And one of the things I'm really proud about you guys is you've grown your business debt free. You've grown your business debt free. I think that, you know, so many businesses in America, and I meet them all the time. I meet these 7-figure businesses, approaching 8 figures. I meet people that have huge government contracts. And when I look at their tax return or their income statement, their bottom line is way out of proportion than the top line revenue, right? Because literally they're just not pricing right. They don't have adequate margins. And this is the story of American business, whether they're minority owned or not minority owned. And you guys have completely revamped that. And really, I mean, you've got the high numbers, the 7-figure mark, but you're also, your bottom line is in proportion with that, which is really excellent. So congratulations on that. Now, as you were implementing Profit First, right, now there has to be some struggles with it, right? There has to be challenges in it. Tell me about those challenges. What were the challenges that you faced and how did you overcome those?
So I guess for me, the major challenge was figuring out the percentage, for different accounts. And then just, it's one thing to say, your money's going in there automatically, and for you to do it yourself, because I'm sure in the future, it's one thing I'll be able to say, okay, transfer each to each account. But in the beginning, I think that was definitely a major thing for me, where knowing how much to transfer and just sticking with that and doing it consistently. Yeah. Right.
And I think for me was more the discipline of trusting this partner now, because we never had a partner before. It was just him and I. And now trusting that the partner that you of, okay, they understand what you're trying to do and they're there to help you. Just trusting that. Because when it comes to money, it was such a thing with me and him saying, oh, we look like we're doing good, but deep down and behind the scenes, we have no clue what we're doing. We're just winging it. Yeah. And trusting someone else who knows all the nitty gritty details to say, this is how you got to do it. So it was that trust. And I think once we just let go of that trust of, okay, they're really trying to help you, it became really easy. But that was a main challenge, was in the beginning of disciplining and trusting.
And the starting of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So automating that process made it easier too, just knowing that.
1,000% for sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
So you guys hear that, Profit First entrepreneurs, automation, having systems in place that it's your SOPs, it's your standard operating procedures where money goes to accounts based upon their predetermined purposes and having the discipline to stay in that. And then the partnership too, the partnership of that second opinion to look at things, look at ratios. That is also another key component in towards achieving success because I remember Ed and Jane, as you guys were going, we had to make adjustments, right? We had to make adjustments to
Yes.
how things were doing, to even our ratios with cost of goods sold versus revenue. We had to
Yes.
constantly make adjustments. How did it feel being in the moment of making those adjustments? Because I know a lot of people tell me about that pull and that tug as they had to adjust.
For us, it was like when I signed up for Profit First and when we decided to work with you, I guess I wasn't expecting the kind of assistance that you gave. I was like, okay, now we're talking margins. Now we're talking actually, like I remember the last conversation you said when we were talking, you were like, there was a program that we implemented that would have ultimately destroyed our business that we worked so hard to build. Here we are creating these cool apps and cool systems. We didn't realize, we didn't see beyond what we were doing. And you were like, that may not be a good idea. And as soon as you said it, it clicked. We're like, oh no. But then you offered a solution like, yeah, don't worry, you can fix it. We have never in our 12-year career with doing this, we've always felt like we're on our own. Like this is it. Like you hit the wall, you just hit the wall, you know? But there you were like, well, you're about to hit the wall. So this is how you can turn this way so you don't hit the wall. So I think for us, it wasn't really a tug and pull thing. It was more like, oh, somebody's actually helping us. Like we're not used to that kind of assistance from, being a small business and just used to work, just doing everything on our own. So I think that was it's more for us a surprise and just gratitude of, wow, so.
And I think you bring up a really good point. There's nothing that's not fixable. There's nothing that's not fixable. You can always, if there are bumps in the road and there are hurdles, it's never too late to adjust and pivot your strategy. And I think, just watching you guys just pivot your strategy. I mean, it was, incredible just how quickly you did it and how nimble you were to do that. Just amazing just watching you guys do that with your strategy and pivoting that. So entrepreneurs, it's never too late if something's not working to stop and switch.
Yes, 100%.
Now, what is, in your opinion, now that you've gone through the Profit First journey, what would you say is the lasting impact of your Profit First journey? How has that changed your lives?
Gosh, I think for the first time since we've done our business, I haven't felt like I don't feel like I'm free falling. I call myself a strategist. Like I know what I'm going to do in 5 years because I have accounts set up to do that. Ed and I are planning, we just wrote down our 5-year plan. And for the first time, we're not like laughing at ourselves, like, you're not going to do that. You can barely even pay your rent. So for the first time, we're like, actually, we're ready. We're working towards our 5-year plan. And it feels natural. I mean, I feel like I know what I'm doing. I feel like the business is not running me and I'm not chasing anything. I feel like I am planning ahead, which is the best feeling in the world for me. I think it's just being ahead of things and being aware and not that free falling feeling that I've had for 11 years. I don't ever want to feel that way again, ever.
In terms of speed, in terms of like how long it took you to get from where you started to where you are today, what are your thoughts on, in terms of those that are starting their journey? What are your thoughts on the speed and the time it took to transition?
I think within 3 months, I started noticing things in terms of not just me feeling comfortable and sleeping well, more like, oh, that account is not minus, not seeing minus everywhere or overdraft fees coming out of my ears. I think the 6th month, however, was when I actually saw myself in 5 years, like, whoa, this is like, money is in accounts now, not just a couple $100, like thousands of dollars. And what it did for our business was, like you said, when you have this small pot to work out of, I started working harder. Our sales improved overall because here I am sleeping well at night, waking up creative and excited about my business, not stressing that I'm going to lose it. It gave us an overall boost of confidence, which in turn gives you more energy to do the work that you need to do. So it's just that when someone is in debt, it's hard to generate money when you're in debt because mentally you're messed up. So you're sitting there stressing. If you owe $500, you really owe $5,000 because that $500 debt is going to stop you from making $5,000 because you're stressed out. That's just what it is.
Right.
So.
And you have an amazing brand too. You have an amazing brand, and stepping into that brand and knowing the value that you bring to this world and owning that, right? And owning the brand, owning what you do, and pricing it accordingly too. I think was also a key strategy for you guys too with that, because you do excellent work. You have an innate talent to do what you do. You make people that, like you said in your first story, there was a woman that lost her hair because she was ill, and you literally gave her that motivation to go on, right? And just owning it at and knowing your value and being open to receiving as a result of the value that you provide.
100%.
Now, Jane, Ed, as we wrap up today, what would be the piece of advice that you would leave rising entrepreneurs, minority business enterprises that are really looking to grow and scale their businesses? If you could leave them with any morsel of advice, and it can be personal, it can be over the business, what would that advice be?
You are not a financial advisor. You are not supposed to be an expert in your business, not unless you went to school and you have an MBA in finance. And sometimes just having an MBA in finance doesn't mean you're, it's just a matter of a lifestyle. I feel like just when we realized that we needed help, when we saw all the pieces of the puzzle not matching up for us, that's when we started seeking help. And seeking help doesn't make you weak. It makes you actually strong. I feel like as a small business, you're wearing so many hats. This is one hat that you definitely need to delegate because it's one of the hats that changes everything in your business. So I think it's not something to say, oh, I'll handle it later. No, you handle it first. Profit first.
I love that, Jane. So standing in your zone of genius, right? Standing in your zone of genius. And when something's outside of your zone of genius, it's okay to get help. It's okay to get help to be able to enter into realms that you wouldn't normally have the skill set to do that. Now, you guys have a fabulous hair care line, right? Fabulous. And we all want to look beautiful. So we want to contact you. Okay. How can our audience, our readers, our listeners, viewers, how can we reach out to you to contact you to learn more about what you do and get some of this product line? How do we do that?
You can go on our website, thevirginhairfantasy.com, virginhairfantasy.com, or you can email us at inquiries@thevirginhairfantasy.com.
I love that. The virginhairfantasy.com is where you can reach Jane and Ed to order product and learn more about them too, and get some tips on how to get styled. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Jane and Ed, for joining us today and sharing your knowledge, your experience, and all of your wisdom.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Thank you for the honor for being able to work with you.
Thank you.